Hi, Matt. And of course, it all started back in December when the Canadian authorities arrested Meng Wanzhou at the request of the U.S. authorities. The U.S. Has brought a legal case against Huawei, alleging the company and its CFO, Meng Wanzhou, were involved in wire fraud in relation to evading U.S. sanctions on Iran. They alleged that they lied to the banks in order to receive funding for a subsidiary known as Skycom. Of course, Huawei denies all these allegations, but the U.S. wants her extradited over so they can try her in the U.S. But this has strained relations ultimately between China and between Canada in what was seen as retaliatory measures by China. They arrested 2 Canadian citizens and accused them of espionage. They've also halted the imports of some Canadian products into China. Now, the case, of course, is a very curious one, given the timing against the backdrop of this broader China-U.S. trade war. And Huawei wants this case ultimately thrown out. What they're arguing is that this case is of a political nature. And the reason they're arguing that is because of comments that President Donald Trump made back in December, where he said he could actually get involved in the case of Meng Wanzhou if it helped to bring about a trade deal with China. But U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo actually said that Meng Wanzhou is not a bargaining chip in this U.S.-China trade fight. So there seems to be some mixed messages here coming from the U.S. administration. Ultimately, however, it's led to a icy relationship between Canada and China, which is likely to continue, and it's amounted to continued pressure on the Chinese technology giant. Matt, back to you.
And despite its problems, it's still business as usual at Huawei with the launch of a new chip, right?
Well, that's the message it's trying to, of course, bring to the market. It's holding an event later today in Shenzhen where it's going to announce that it's a new AI chip called the Ascend 910 will be made commercially available. Now, the Ascend 910 was actually unveiled last year, and they're going to talk about the availability of it today. It's aimed at going in data centers to be able to train artificial intelligence algorithms, which actually takes a lot of data. It takes several days or weeks. Huawei claims it can be done in minutes with its chip. Now, of course, it comes against the backdrop of U.S. pressure. Huawei is trying to say, look, we can continue to bring innovation to the market. We can continue to bring out this core technology in the form of chips, which is an area it's been putting a lot of focus on. But it's also trying to build out a new business of its enterprise business, which only counts for about 10% of revenues currently. But this includes its cloud business and data server business. And so it's trying to boost that as you see a few difficulties in the networking business. But it faces a number of challenges, I'd say, when it brings this chip to the market. Firstly, how does it perform versus established players like Qualcomm, Nvidia, and Intel? These are the kind of US players that it'll be going up against as well. But ultimately, the big question is going to be, can it gain the trust of customers with its new technology? And if it's not able to do that, then it's going to be a hard sell in the market. Matt, back to you.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.